Okay. Are we live somewhere?
Hello, we are live.
Good morning. Good Monday
Good
morning.
morning. Sorry, y'all. We're getting it together slowly but surely. How are y'all doing this wonderful Monday morning?
I tell you, the energies have been crazy. We've got this full moon, today in the morning, like that's coming in, but we've already been in that energy. And with all this Pisces energy, I have been getting downloads like crazy. It's like yesterday morning, I was up at 4 o'clock, just automatic writing, just tons of things coming in. And then I ended up, I was up like from 4 to 6, and then I went back to bed and went into this big dream, but I wasn't asleep. I was in that where you're just journeying. And I went to the future, which is where I came from before I came in this lifetime. I'm a jumper. Of course, I don't do anything in chronological order. And I
Yeah.
was in this big, huge auditorium, like with everybody from the future that was coming in to be now, and we were all getting our assignments, and they were broadcasting the information to us and what it was that we were coming here for. And then from that big group, there were like we broke out then into smaller groups that were like your pod, of what your assignment is. And then even from that, more groups. And I
Mm.
remember that part. It's like I remember all of that. And I don't usually really remember my dreams, but when I go into those journeys, is what I call them, because you're like in that in between space. I usually remember them. It's like I can
Mm.
journey that way, and then the information comes in. So I've been going into what in human design and what is called the soul crystal, that's like in behind our third eye. It's in that area, and really going down. See, I see my earth purpose in the heart of Gaia and in the crystalline heart of, Earth herself. And so I've been
Mhm.
dropping down into that and really aligning and anchoring in the earth purpose. It's like, okay, if that's our greatest challenge, then every morning I align to it. So then when I get out of bed, I'm like stepping into the energy. And I can really, this Piscean energy is like, woo. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's not as clear because I have, when I feel a lot, like my body feels a lot. I get nauseous. I get um, dizzy sometimes. Depends on how strong it is, but really strong energy, I have physical reactions. And I can tell something's coming in because I'll get like flushes. I'll get like, I call it flushes of energy. So I'll get like
Hmm.
warmth moving through my body or like a movement through my head. And I've been having a aha moments, which is also kind of an indicator like, oh, this is this, that's that, and like, or like it's clear how I want to move forward on something.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like those
yeah.
deja vu kind of moments, with it all. It's like, oh, I remember this, but I don't know why I remember it, but I know
Well,
I
I don't
remember
remember
this.
my dreams either unless it is a deja vu. So whenever I remember my dream, I'm like, ooh, is this gonna happen?
Right.
I put like a little bookmark in it just to see, because whenever it comes back up, especially earlier in my life, it was an indicator that I'm on track, is kind of how I thought of it. I'm on, you know. So lately I've been having more like vision dreams, but um, but mostly like if I don't remember my dreams,
No,
you
I'm
know.
exhausted if I do. I get up and I'm like, and then my head goes into what the fuck was that? And then I try to start figuring it out, and it just exhausts me. And it's like, I think that there's a reason I don't remember it. It's like, oh, my subconscious is doing all kinds of things tonight, and I have no idea what most of this is. Um, but if I do remember it, like you said, I'll know. It's like I'll go, oh, that's information, and blah blah blah, and then it might be 3 days later, that something comes up and it's like, oh, that's what that dream was about. But
Mhm.
yeah. And then
Yeah, it's not a big thing for
I'll do
me.
the lucid too, where you're watching the dream and you are aware that you're watching the dream, and then sometimes I'll see things change with that. Yeah. So that
Yeah.
and um this full moon that we're in, it's a Virgo full moon with the Pisces sun, so it's across from each other. So that is that energy of it's an opportunity to release the critical perfectionism. And so whatever house that is in, for your own sign, that's the house that you have the opportunity to release that energy. And yeah, so just pay attention, what's coming up with that, what's the stuff, in that way that's coming up. And then the Pisces energy is going to support that practical Virgo earth energy to utilize it, to flush it on out, to flush the energy on out. So it may be showing us stuff in our dream time right now because of that. It's like, because you know, the Virgo
Mhm.
can get over organized with things, if you want to call it that. I don't know if there's ever any over organizing, but it can get too much trying to put things in the box. So it's going to be looking for the boxes that it can get rid of right now. It's going to be in that
Right.
energy.
That I've definitely felt. I felt, especially like Saturday, I had a energy like that move through. It was like this feeling, understanding of um, that I hold on to things too tightly, right? And then I want to see step, 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 and I want to be clear on every little step, and that that I need to start prioritizing my intuition is kind of the overall message. But I do think it's kind of a reiteration of kind of the lessons of Mars retrograde as well, because like we're coming out of the shadow, right, of
Yeah.
Mars retrograde.
Yeah. And Mars is going to move. It's been in Gemini since August. I mean, it's been in this crazy long time that it's been in Gemini. And on the 25th, it's going to move into Cancer. So it's came out of that shadow and it's ready to start moving forth. So we've got
Mm,
that energy. There's a lot of stuff that's coming up. We've also got, I mean, we just had over the weekend, we had Libra and Cryon, not Libra, Venus. Venus and Cryon went conjunct with each other. So that's that. I'm not going to call Cryon the wounded healer anymore. He's the healer's healer. It's like he's the
yeah,
he's the healed one. So bringing that energy of value. So that energy, that could be the thing that's coming up with people. It's like she's receiving the value because she's here to magnetize that to us. So that happened right after she had left Jupiter, which is expansion and, the magnetism and us stepping into that. And then now, yesterday, I think it's from the 5th to the 12th that Jupiter and Cryon are in conjunct with each other. So Jupiter's
mm,
getting his own healing around all of it. So we're in, and then with this full moon on top of it, it's Virgo, the healing energy too. It's like we've got so much opportunities right now to let go of those sabotaging patterns that don't serve us
mm,
anymore. Unpack it, let it
absolutely.
go, take the learnings and the lessons that they are. Virgo loves that. It's like, ooh, how can I take this and use it practically? It's like that was such a beautiful lesson. Let's take this and utilize it. And what do I do with this? How do I take it and magnetize my value and the expansion? So we're in
Expansion,
a
yeah.
really,
So when you said the Venus and Chiron are coming together when?
yeah, they
This
did. They did
Oh, they came
on over the weekend. They came
over the
together
weekend.
Friday, I think it was maybe Friday.
Okay, that
So
makes
she's
sense.
been in that energy. And then now Jupiter moved into it right behind her on, because he's moving slower than Venus. He moved into it on the 5th. So she's been in that, and she just got on the other side of Chiron. It's like Jupiter. If you look at the chart, it's like Jupiter, Chiron, and Venus right now. They're having a sandwich, and it's like Chiron is in the middle.
They're
It's
all
like the
hanging out
peanut
together.
butter in between the two of them.
So, and then Jupiter, because I know Jupiter is also close to Vesta right now.
Yeah. And Aries is in there
Yeah.
too. So there's a bunch of goddess energy that's going, yeah, we're going to support this. And we're here to, to support the energy and the value and the truth of who you really are. So it's a lot of this.
That's so interesting because
sweet.
Yeah.
And then next week we move into some more.
That's what I was teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, because we were talking about how, I was talking about how we need to value what our lessons are from that idea that we couldn't get something right. And then it became one of our strengths, right? Because we had to work on it. And so a lot of times we think, well, I wasn't any good at it. I'm only good at it because I had to work on it. And so we don't value it at the level that we should, right? And so what I was really getting was that if you're not including that value, then you're missing out on part of what's available for you, because that's what people really need from you. They need to know what it's like to not have it and then be able to have it.
Exactly. That's what they're magnetized to you for. And so Saturn is right on the edge of getting ready to move out of Aquarius into Pisces. And, Saturn has been in his own houses for the last 6 years, and he's getting ready to move into Pisces. And that happens today too. I think tomorrow maybe. And it's like, so we've got a bunch of stuff going on, and that hasn't been that way. It's like, it's a crazy amount of years, that it's been exactly lined up when it is. So we're going to have Neptune, Venus, the Sun, Saturn, and Jupiter, and then Chron's still there too. And those goddesses that you were saying, the other asteroids, all piled up in Pisces together. There's going to be so any of these babies that are being born right now are being born with that stellium in Pisces in that house. So Saturn's bringing the structure to it. A lot of people get all pissy over Saturn and, afraid of Saturn and the structure that Saturn brings. And it's like, but when you have that structure, then it's exactly what you said a while ago. It's like, how do you take that and then take the karma from it and use it for your dharma? That's Absolutely. The point that we're in right now. It's like, how do I take this learning and this lesson? I know people that astrologists. I had an astrologist friend in Asheville, Eric Myers is actually his name. And he did astrophotography, and he literally moved to Asheville to be on his Saturn line so he could be the expert in his field. And he wrote a bunch of astrology books while he was there. And then he moved back to Washington State. But he did it intentionally during, a time in his chart, because lots of people are like, oh, don't go live on your Saturn line. You're going to go live on your karma. That's the last thing you want to do. But if you take it and utilize it at the structure that it can bring you, it's like,
all energy is for you. It's not,
exactly.
and I think that's where people get confused. Like, it may not feel good at certain points, but that ultimately it is for you, right?
Right.
And
They're our allies.
Either you're like looking at it like, no, I don't want to have structure,
right?
But then I see this all the time with us. When I say us, I mean like empaths and people who are more sensitive, that we want the kind of the recognition, we want to bring value, we want to help people, we want to bring impact into people's lives, we want to give them transformation. And we are so not okay with having to do anything. And I'm putting myself in that basket. I mean, I'm talking about me right now. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about me. I say, one of my things, freedom is my highest ideal, right?
Me
So if
too.
I
Yeah.
can't choose what I'm doing with my time, then, I might as well work at McDonald's for all I care. Like, that is ultimately what I want, and I will take all that comes with it,
Right.
right? Um, but the fact is that when we are working towards something, there is a structure that would like to be had. And I think what a lot of this information is, this Saturn and Pisces, and this is very intuitive. I'm not an astrologer. I don't have like all the knowings of that,
Oh, we
but
do. You do. It's all inside of all of us. Some of us know this stuff.
but that is my feeling about Saturn and Pisces. It's basically teaching us what structure looks like with the essence of freedom.
Right. With the flow, with the
Yeah.
divine flow
Mm.
of the energy and how to move through it and incorporate it into grace and flow. Because when you're in
Mhm.
alignment, then it is grace and flow.
Mm,
It's
mhm.
even when it's the
Absolutely.
structures that we're trying to, like, even this, okay, this StreamYard thing today. I was StreamYard is not that intuitive, but it is. But the part that's not intuitive is you can't find where the things are, And so I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm trying to put these banners on here. And I went and watched a couple YouTubes that did not give me any answers whatsoever. And then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna worry about it. And then when I hit the thing to set the time for us to go live, that's where the page is. But now will I remember that next time? I don't know. And it's like when that's where it's at. I was looking everywhere, and it's like, to me, in my mind, it's like, who created this? And why did they pad this here? And why isn't it like up front where you can have all of that structure taken care of? You know?
Right. Or even like have a thing like if you have like a show that you could just automatically have these things attached to this show.
Yeah, it didn't unless there's a way that I couldn't find it out. It wouldn't
No,
let me
there
add the
isn't. This
patterns and stuff
because
until I hit broadcast, and then I could put it in
exactly.
there. And
That's what
so
I'm saying.
so I
Yeah.
was like, but I mean, I'm talking about it right now, but instead I could have got in a big argument with it because I wanted to.
You're
Obviously, that
like,
was
listen
still in my
here, StreamYard.
subconscious. And and then when I did it, it was like, oh, right here it is. And it was so easy and so simple. And it only took me seconds. But
Yeah.
on the front end of it, I had already spent all of this time and couldn't find the instructions. But when I just intuitively saw, oh, if I hit that button, what's going to happen? And I just kind of followed my intuition, it was actually easy. But before
Mhm.
that, I was like trying, I don't know. It's like it's like the difference in between that when you're hitting the wall, you know? And then sometimes we have to just sit back and go, I don't care. I'm just going to go with the flow and whatever happens, happens. And when I did that, then it was like, oh, what happens if I hit this? And what happens if I hit
Well, and that's what I love about techno loving. I mean, I love it. I know that a lot of people hate that factor, but the fact that you could, like, if you are willing to experiment with it, that you will figure it out, right? And so yeah, so like just seeing what's next, what's after that. If I click here, what happens then, right? Like
Yeah,
having that experience with technology helps to just kind of jump into it.
right. It's not
So
going away. So we might as well embrace it. We've actually got 5 people watching us today. We got any comments?
well, no, but that's what I'm
Nope.
saying. I was thinking because I think Facebook they would have to
Oh, they
they
have
have
to
to sign
allow it
up
on
a
that. Yeah,
StreamYard,
because I
right?
tried that today to see what would happen. So I put us on both of your channel and my channel. I did that. I was like so proud of myself. I had StreamYard for 2 years, and it's like, oh, I just needed to step into it. And so I put it also on my public Facebook group, the Master
Yeah.
Self Portal, just to see what would happen if we broadcasted in 3 places since they give us 3 opportunities. And I thought, let's see what happens.
Let's
So
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you have to like sign into StreamYard in order to comment on Facebook. But we are also streaming live on YouTube on Kimberly's channel. What's your channel, Kimberly? You
It's
know?
Kimberly Crow, and then it's Celestial
Yeah.
Juju. But if you just do my name, it's where you're going to see it at.
Yeah. And my channel is Manifa Harris. Just put our names in. Uh, and then you'll be able to comment on YouTube because we're streaming live.
Yeah, ask us questions or jump
And this
in
is
and do a
expanded
bitch session with
view.
us. We'll listen to you.
Oh, somebody said I'm here. See, it doesn't tell you their name though. Hi.
Oh, it's my friend Sylvia.
So
Hi,
good to
Sylvia. I looked
see.
over on Facebook, and it's not showing us on YouTube, but I looked on Facebook. Hi, Sylvia. What crystals have you got out today? She's a crystal goddess too.
I played
Yeah.
with my crystals this morning. I had my labradorite and obsidian and
Yeah, obsidian's really good to be
what's the
grounded
blue
this
one?
in right now. I actually did the full moon. I put it on my Facebook a while ago. Not my Facebook, on my YouTube channel a while ago. So I did all of the crystals on there too. And I did each house and what this energy means of what house it is for you and what the perfectionism that you can release and step into your divine flow. It's like, what are the energy challenges that are here for you? So anybody wants to go watch that, it's on there. And then I also threw stones in that could help support the energies of it.
I love it.
I'll let that go too, because that in my mind, I've created a schedule for myself. And I was supposed to do that Friday because that was the date I had, but it never, like, the energy wasn't correct for me. It just wasn't. And then this morning I jumped right up and got it all done. And so we have to let ourselves off on those kinds of things too. If you're not feeling the flow, you're just not feeling the flow. So anyway.
Yeah. So I guess it's Sylvia saying, wearing garnet today along with an obsidian bracelet. I love that. Grounding, bit of energy in the garnet. Just I think of it as vitality. I'm supposed to like garnet. People keep telling me to use garnet, but
Supposed to be your birthstone.
I know.
Are you June or July?
I'm July 15th. Yeah.
You're the 13th?
15th.
15th.
Yeah. So it looks like Pisces is in my 4th house. So I'm just thinking all that activity. But and then like everything, I have so much Pisces energy because my husband's a Pisces. And I feel like a lot of those transits that happen in Pisces are like really strong for me. I don't know if it's just because my husband, because we tend to draw energy early too. Like we tend to be a couple of days, at least 3 days ahead of the energy coming in. And especially when it's coming through Pisces. And I think that is, I'm trying to think, how's that come up in that sense of perfection and all of those things. I think because we've been having a lot of well, you don't know, but a lot of times my husband and I have arguments. It's like a collective conversation. That's kind of like this collective conversation between masculine and feminine. And it's always intense when that happens. Like we have like intense arguments, and we don't argue that much. I mean, we have our little gripes, but we don't really argue that much. We don't want to waste our energy that way. But when it does come through, it's really strong. And this last one was about essentially me acknowledging his feelings, how he felt about things, and how he wanted our home life to be like, right? And so with Pisces in my 4th house, that makes more sense because it is like how are we going to how are we functioning in our home, and how
Mm-hmm.
we are together in our home,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Yeah, and then but for me it was like it was this big recognition of coming from my heart space.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just kind of the ego of I am this, I'm not that, um, and this feeling of needing to protect myself, right? So it's this idea essentially that I didn't want to end up like my mother. In other words, I didn't want to be somebody who like all my life was about taking care of the house and
Right.
cleaning and all the things, right? And so it was such a strong thing for me. And then, but that energy just allowed me to just see past this. Like, really, like everything that he's asking you to do is something that you've already decided that you want to do more of. So why are you arguing with him? Number one. And number two, why can't you let him like feel loved in that, right? In that way. So, yeah. So, Kim, talk about how this energy affects each sign. You want to go through all the
You
signs
know
or
what,
some of
Pam?
them?
If you go, I just posted it. If you go to my YouTube that I just did on the full moon, it's going to tell you every single sign. And then I'm going to post the March transits, which is
Mhm.
all of the signs for with this Pisces energy of all those transits that I just got through saying that were in Pisces. When we get off of here, I'm going to create that one and then post it, which is going to be all of March transits. So if
Mhm.
you can watch it there because it's in that one. It's like I should know. I just got through doing the video. I should know all
So
of them
when you
off the
do
top of my
your
head,
full
especially
moon,
with the
and you
moon.
when you're talking about signs, do you how do you have people look into it? Like their sun sign, obviously. Do you
Uh,
do a rising
well,
sign as well, or?
when I'm doing the transits for the thing, I'm using Hosan because that's more predictive. And so it's your rising sign really. Because if you're using one of the other house systems, you're going to have they're not going to be equal degrees in each house. So
Mhm.
your sign could be here or there. So I'm really doing it by the house. Like if you know that you're like if you're this, then it's this house. Like if you're where you're like that moon is in my 11th house. Okay. So that's really from my Scorpio rising because for Libra, it's in the 12th house. So does that make sense? You understand what I'm saying? So
I lost you on that last part.
for me to be
So
able to give that information and go around it, to do all the transits, I have to use whole signs in that way. Or if
mhm.
you know your own chart, then I'll say moon in 6th house, I'll say all the numbers of the houses, and then you can correlate that to your own chart of
Okay. So
where
my
it's at.
my I'm Scorpio rising, so I would listen to the Scorpio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That moon is going to be, if you're Scorpio rising, then that moon is going to be, the moon is in your 11th house.
Yeah.
And it's in the 12th house it's going to be for the Libra. For Cancer,
Yeah.
where's it
So
going to be
that's
at for
for
Cancer?
people who are interested and want to listen to Kim's full moon in Virgo. You want to look at your rising sign and um
Yeah. Or if
and
you know
see what
your
she
own
has
house,
to
then
say about that.
yeah. If you're using one of the other systems, because there's, just in Western astrology, which I'm a Western astrologer. Okay. And so
Mhm.
there's a bookoodle of house systems, and different people use different house systems. And
Yeah.
so whole sign houses is when you see the wheel and they're all 30 degrees, like each one of them is 30 degrees. If you're using one of the other systems, you could have little houses and big houses, that can have different things in it. So your signs are going to be moving around in different houses. They're not going to all be equaled out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm using the Hosans for that. But if you know, if you do the chart and you look at the transit, like I'm looking at mine right now, I can see that moon is sitting on top of my I can see what house that it's in. So I know it's in
Yeah.
my 11th house. And then I know that my Pisces is in my 5th house, which is creativity. And so my 5th house is going to be hit with all of these energies that we just got through talking about. So you'd look at the
Yeah.
wheel and see where your Pisces is and what house that's in. And that's the theme that's going to be hit with all of these transits in March. It'll be the theme in your life. So mine's creativity. It's like it's at the 5th house. It's all about creativity, all of that energy with that. So, and I've been channeling like crazy. It's like the, books, art, all of it's just been coming in. And it's coming so fast that it's like, oh, I got to get this down somewhere. I can't do anything else because so much energy's coming in. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for me, it's been a lot of energy, but it also is coming through like that. So we are moving, we're trying to find a house, we're, like all of that stuff is coming up for us. So that's where all that Pisces energy is for me in that 4th house. I was going to look up my husband's to see where it is for him. Let's see. I'm so nosy.
And then I did this big shift of Saturn, what the Saturn going into Pisces. I did that video like a week or so ago. So you can go and look on that on the YouTube and it'll tell you what that energy is going to be for you, what it's been and where it's going. So I've done those. And then I'm going to do the whole month of March with the transits.
Yeah. So if you have any questions like directly, so if you know your house already, then we can answer you directly here too. But to go through all 12 at this very moment when she's already done the work would be weird.
I did think when I was recording it this morning, I thought, I could just do that on there live and go through all of them then. And I did think that. I thought instead of doing two recordings this morning, maybe I should just go through them while we're on here. So they must have felt the energy because it was in my field. So Pam knew it was in my field because I just did the recording like 15 minutes before we came on. So it
She's
was
like,
in the
where is
field.
that one?
Yeah, where is that one? Where is that one? You felt it, girl.
Okay,
you felt that I was already in the energy of it. Let's see. She didn't say which one her house is. Sylvia put hers on there.
So
and it was so weird. I was doing it because I wrote them all out to have backup. And I don't know why I do that. I'd do better if I just fly by the seat of my pants. I left Libra out of it. There was no Libra. When I thought somebody's missing Libra. I'm a Libra. I did not, intentionally leave Libras out. And I thought, why did I leave my? And so I am reading it. And then I realized there was no Libra. And it's like, and then, so my mind's going, why would I leave myself out? So here I am like recording and doing this. And then I've got my little voice back here going, why did you leave yourself out?
Don't you love us?
So I haven't had time to set a journal with that one. So I got to find out what that little voice was about. Because I could feel it. It was right here going, why did you leave me out? You just ignored me. So I got to just go in because that's how I knew that it was 12th house Libra, because it's like, oh, what's 12th house about? It's all about spirit and, channeling and mediumship and, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's Pisces house. So anyway, yeah, that's when we're doing too many things.
Yeah. So also the full moon is in Gate 64. This
Yeah. Let's talk about
and
Gene
human
Keys.
design, and then Gene Key. So like so human design, Gate 64. Let me look up the actual.
I have that one.
It's
I
so
have that gate
funny.
already. So, and then that one, is that the one of ideals? Or I can't remember. Where's my chart?
It is. It's like it's basically of like knowing, like of being. I'm trying to remember the one. Of course, I don't have it up yet. I'm gonna bring it up now. Well, I have to say like all three words for me to like be able to get it, you know, because otherwise I don't remember the stories. So yeah, but the human design gate is the one for divine transference. So it's really about being able to see the big picture,
Yeah.
and being able to be in alignment with our intentions while seeing the big picture.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
I have that gate already in my body chart because I did look it up this weekend when I was getting so many downloads. I thought, is there some gate that we're in the transit of that I don't know, don't normally have because it was kicked on so? And if you already have it in your body graph, then you already have that one. But I could tell it activated. It's like, they say that you already have it, so you're not going to feel it. And I was like, oh no, it was like knocking on my boggin up here. All kinds of things were coming in. It was reminding me.
yeah.
It was like it was reminding me why I embodied. It's like, here, this is the whole reason you came in. I felt like that was the whole reason that I went to that future self place, and that I was being reminded of the mission. And that's why I got up and I heard your 64 is talking to you. And then I went to go see what transit we were in. I got the information, then I went to go see. So it was interesting. So if you all aren't familiar with human design or Gene Keys, you actually can get your own free chart that will tell you a lot of information. And we both do that type of work. So you can also check in with us, and we can help you with that too.
So the three words in Gene Keys, I finally got it up, the chart up, is confusion, imagination, and illumination.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was trying to remember. That first shadow word is the one that like kind of helps me focus on what it means in Gene Keys. And yeah, because that confusion is like sometimes the big picture is overwhelming, right? And so you can't see the forest for the trees, which is why the alignment piece is so important, right? And so that alignment piece is what creates kind of your version of the expanded reality. And so that allows you to really have a sense of what your imagination is offering for you. So it's like, I love that dream. That's hard. That's
something outside, a weed eater thing. At first when it first started going off, you know what it sounded like? The Tibetans, when the Tibetans start doing the throat sounds. And I thought, where's the Tibetan throat sounds coming from? And I was looking to see if I could click something on, and that's what it sounded like to me. And I thought that was so interesting that it sounded like that. That energy. So it was clearing something. So you can take it and clear something with it. That was so interesting. Ninth house.
It's hilarious. It's like literally right outside my window.
That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah. It sounds like the Tibetans doing their vocal stuff. See, you can take something and turn it into anything. Yeah, so if you don't normally have that gate 64, one of the experiences that you might be having right now is that
how I experience that confusion, it's when I try to go into my mind and start figuring out everything. And then it's like if I pull back from that and then just allow it to be, then the illumination happens. It's when I'm trying too much that, because then I'm taking outside sourced energy instead of just being in alignment with what's really there. And so when I'm like, if I went into a spin out, then it's because I'm taking in too many talking heads. And if I pull away from that energy, then and go quiet, then the download will come in and I'll understand what the energy's about.
Yeah, that's beautiful because yeah, it's that because imagination's from within, right? So
Right.
like so you're not looking at the externals for that clarification. I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I have that whole channel. So that's one of the reasons that I can guide other people, because I have the whole channel. And then so if they're in confusion, I can like hold that to the clarity comes, So the way human design and Gene Keys work, it's like it, and I think it happens with everything in life. We came in carrying certain vibrations. And if you aren't carrying that vibration, but if you're in the aura of somebody that is, then you can, align, you'll have the vibration while you're in that. That's how sometimes when we're with certain friends or we're in groups, like we'll have all this information and then we walk away and we're like, what was that about? It's just gone. It's not there anymore, or whatever the feeling is. And it's because we were plugged in to the whole consciousness.
Right. Like when like one of the things that reminds me of is when we were younger, right? Because when you're younger, you have like friend groups and y'all all meet at the coffee house or you all meet at the, study hall, right? Like when I was in college, we had a area in our dorm where there's a bunch of tables and a lot of people would study there, especially if we're cramming for exams, right? And it's so interesting that when you're all in the same room, like it just more is available, more is, your brain works on all the levels, right? And for some people, especially people who need more of those communications and those clarifiers, right? Those manifesting clarifiers, a lot of them do work better, like if they go to a Starbucks and do some work, and because you're getting the energy of the people coming through as well.
Right.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be one of my things that I'm supposed to do if I'm stuck, is to go into something like that. But I mean, I know that information says that is what I'm to do, but I couldn't work there, because I'm supposed to go there to work to receive more information. It's too damn distracting to me. It's like there's too much energy coming in this. So I think sometimes just going and being in it and then leaving may be enough to jumpstart you, because there's no way I could work somewhere like that.
Well, you're also a projector. Like I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for you, because also like your clarification comes from within, right? So maybe going out and coming in, like, just kind of tasting the air, so to speak, and then coming back and then clarifying from within, right? So yeah, it's so interesting because sometimes we kind of say these broad statements, but it may not always be true for you, which is why I think it's important to have somebody like kind of speaking to your energy instead of just taking random advice from everybody. Like, because it may not be true for you. I find that all the time. It's like, oh, this is a proven success method, and oh, you should do it this way because it's worked for 90% of my clients. And I'm like, well, maybe 90% of your clients are like, manifesting generators that have like limitless energy and, defined third chakra.
Right. You can usually tell who has that, because they're the cheerleaders that are going, go, rah, rah, rah. And they get you all fired up.
And they get you all fired
up. And then you leave,
in the room.
like you leave the Tony Robbins workshop of the weekend and you're totally crashed.
I've got plenty of energy.
You're like walking on fire.
You're
and
like,
doing all of
go
the
back
fire
to your
things.
house and you're like, how does this go again?
And
What
then
am I
you try to walk
supposed to
on fire
do?
on your own, and you're like, oh shit, now I've got blisters on my feet. What was I thinking? Yeah, I can't do those.
Absolutely. It is so famous though, because like people really feel that way. And you know, they're doing their best and they're trying to help people, and I get it. But that's the reality. It's not everybody is built the same way. And just because, you know, that they can get you to the point where you feel like them does not mean that you are them.
Right. And then that's where the self doubt and self criticism comes in from, and the perfectionism. We go into that and go, what's wrong with me? Why can't I be like that when we're not supposed to be like that to begin with? You know, it's like that's when we go over into that critical mind and the judgment and all of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because,
absolutely.
you know, the Virgo moon can be self-criticism. You know, it's like that's what this is, an opportunity to let go of. Somebody put it was their ninth house. Ninth house is going to be, where are you holding yourself back from? Do you think you need more knowledge, and are you self-sabotaging yourself because you think you need the answers, if that's where yours is, for sure. So it's going to be that kind of energy. Anyway,
So yeah, so that's the ninth house in Taurus. There's somebody that said they're Cancer rising as well.
I know, but I think this has got Capricorn as the ninth house instead of the Taurus. So I'm not sure which that's why
Yeah.
it's hard to answer that, because I don't know what house system they're looking at, you know, and it's going to make a difference when it turns. But if it's the ninth house itself, then that's the energy of it. I think
Right.
Cancer was because my
And if anybody's watching the recording, remember that Kim has a full moon reading over on her page at Kimberly Crow.
yeah. Okay, is there anything else that's coming up for us to dive into, or off till next week?
Well, was that the same person? The Cancer rising was the
I don't know, because it's not showing the names on this. I'll have to go over to my Facebook one and look to see who's saying what. No, it might have been. I don't think so. Oh, well, yeah. Sylvia said ninth house, and she was the Cancer rising. So I'm not sure. It wasn't the Taurus person.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you were here, Sylvia, and that you got to connect in with us. Yeah, I think that's mostly it, because I did want to cover the full moon and want to cover a little bit of the gene keys, and that feeling of what it brings up for you. Because yeah, if it's something that's familiar, then it's going to be a reminder, right? Kind of what Kimberly was talking about. If it's not familiar, like me, it's not it's not familiar, it's going to be a teacher, right? And so yeah, so mine has been, woo, what is going on with me? It's been really being able to check in with myself and see what are the different components of what's showing up in me and my body, and what wants to be given attention to, you know. The recording will be on YouTube. Yes. So the recording.
You know, I did do affirmations, and then I forgot to say them on my recording this morning. So I did an affirmation for each house, so I could give those to you, like affirmations that you could say to release the synergy. So if you know that it is in your first house, the energy is going to be, I release the need for to be perfect and embrace my unique individuality. And then second house, I release the limited beliefs around money and embrace my own self-worth and abundance. Third house, I release old patterns of communication and embrace the power of my voice and intellect. The voice. Okay. Fourth house, I release the fears of rejection, abandonment, and embrace my sense of belonging and emotional security. Fifth house, I release self-doubt and embrace my creative passions and self-expression. Sixth house, I release perfectionism and embrace the balance of my daily routines and self-care. But with it being Virgo, that's one of the big things. That's gonna be the big theme is self-care. And whether it body, mind, or spirit, what's not in alignment, it's going to show you. It's going to show up in your body. Your body's going to go, oh, this is not working for me. Because that's what that is. The body is a mechanism that's telling you, well, that doesn't work anymore. That's why we have pain. Whether it's emotional, spiritual, or, the mind, it's saying, is that working for you, really? It's like the Dr. Phil voice in your head. How's that working for you?
How's that working for you? I love that
seventh
question.
house is I release the critical self-talk and embrace the beauty of collaboration and partnership. Eighth house, I release fears and emotional baggage, embrace the power of transformation and connection. Ninth house, I release rigid thinking and embrace the growth and expansion of my beliefs and values. 10th, I release limited beliefs around success and embrace my own authority and power. 11th house, I release the patterns of isolation and embrace my connection and my community and with the world at large. 12th house, I release the fears, illusions, and embrace the beauty and wisdom of my own intuition and spirituality.
Ooh, those are juicy, Kimberly.
I know those are juicy. And it's like I got off after I did my live this morning. I was like, oh, I forgot to do those. I'm thinking I should do a journal. And that for next year, and I don't have to wait till next year, do I? There's calendars that start in the middle of the year. They don't always have to be at the first of the year, but we're all this creative information's coming in. It's like I'm getting all of it, and then I have it on pieces of papers and napkins and all kinds of things. And it's like make a condensed form that it's like a something monthly that people get, and then they can, if they want to use affirmations or candle rituals or whatever, they can. So anyway. Yeah, go back and listen to those. Let's see where your house is, where that moon is in the transit of your house. It's not your personal moon. It's the transit moon, where that Virgo moon is and which house that it's in for you. And then that's your affirmation to release. So you could write it down and then burn it and let it go.
Virgo 16 degrees, where that is on your chart is where the moon is coming through. And so house is that's the affirmation you'll use. The house, as she was mentioning, is that where Virgo 16 degrees is chart. Hope that helps everybody.
That's perfect. That makes it so much more condensed and precise. Just look at wherever that degree is in your chart. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we want different ideas. We all think a little differently, so I love to give all the different versions. I get the big vision, and then it's like you got to condense it down, and it's like that's so simple. And
that degree.
I'm that person. Like I need it very clear, and I need it kind of separate from all the other things, which is why I think we're a good combination because you have all this information in your head. It's just like a lot, and it can just come through like a hose sometimes. And so like I'll probably have to slow you down a little bit every now and again, be like, let's go back to that one thing you said.
Because it comes and it goes. And it's like when people stop me and it's like, I can pull the energy back, but it could take a while.
Yeah, because there's so many things. Even like I would recommend you even listen to this one a couple of times because Kimberly said a few things that are very profound, but she says it so fast that you might not have caught it. So I would just double check, like the when you were talking about the Venus and Chiron, there's a lot of stuff in there that I would just double check and make sure you heard everything because it's stuff that's coming up in my clients that I know is coming up in the collective. So I know other people are experiencing that. And so it's like a clue to where you need to be looking to clarify your own situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yes, I think we're all going to go over and pop over and watch your full moon.
I listen to myself after I do these. And I go, oh, that was so good. I didn't know that. It's like I had no idea that I knew that. And when because I'm editing them anyway, and then I'll go back and go, what did I say there? Oh, and then I'll go look at my own chart to see where it's at.
I'm like, wow, that's brilliant.
Right.
That's so true though. Same thing. I listen to some of my recordings. I'm just like, wow, like I could use that information right now.
And you know what? That's where, I mean, 'cause these transits and stuff like that on this, arbitrary dates that we make and go, oh, because our mind has to have it has to have that. And the truth is, it's all just energy. And even though we set these dates with it, because it's just the map, the pinpoint is like where you throw the dart to the donkey or whatever. It's like where you're pinning the donkey's tail on. That's all it's doing is pinning the donkey's tail on. And it's like the truth is that energy is forever. And when you go back and listen to those, you may get the aha you need in the moment, even if it's not on that day. It won't matter. It's like, because it's the energy transmission that happens. And that's what the planets and stuff are doing for us.
It's beautiful. Yeah. And it's true. I think astrology is more for us as in our human bodies, right? It's more for us because our brains want something to do, and it gives them something to focus on while we are receiving the greater knowledge,
Right.
And so it's important because we are in the bodies, so that we have that focus point. And for me, it is that for sure. Like it's a lot. It gives me a sense of order, right? It gives me a sense of order
in the chaos.
to be able to be like,
a sense
okay,
of order
I
in
can
the
focus on
chaos.
this right now.
Yeah.
And that organizing allows for everything to be more meaningful. That's how it works for me, anyways. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you for being the gifts that you are. Thank you for coming and embodying and incarnating in this time we call now, so we can do these changes and hope that it does something for the legacy of humanity. We've got to hold on to hope. I've just been realizing that lately. It's like, oh yeah, when we remember, then it's some way it still sparks hope, when at times when things can be a little the other way. Just like the hope is the answer to it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, wonderful beings. Thanks for hanging out with us. We won't be on for next Monday, but
actually, I don't have my granddaughter Monday. I have her on Friday instead. I was going to tell you that. I thought I had her Monday.
Okay.
I have her Friday. And even with that, we can always pre-record and then
put it on.
Set them up as premieres on the live streams, and then it's just like that. You're here. Yeah, we can do things like that.
Yeah, that's totally possible. Yeah. But that means we will be here next Monday.
If there's anything anybody wants us to talk about or any questions, then throw it out there. It's like I'll channel about it, whatever it is. And if you've got something that you do that works with all of this, I know that like some of my friends that were on there, they've got big missions that they're doing. So, I may do these on more days and do some more stuff. I may do some. We should do each other's charts on the human design and the gene keys. Maybe start showing the charts to people. So then I saw in that, this is interesting. This is just random information that comes through the Washington Post, where they do the top trends of, for 2023, human design was in the top trends.
Wow.
Right. Because, like astrology's
exploding.
been coming back and people are wanting to know about it. And human design is one of the things that people are seeking. And I was like, this great. We've been embodying all of this information, and now we have it to hold the container for others.
Steve Perez is saying, I love the gene keys.
I do
so
too.
Do I.
It's so transformational.
That's my fave. Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea because that's also like that's actually our ultimate objective is to speak about our purpose and what's activating for our purpose in the transits as well. So like being able to apply them to our businesses and what we're doing in our work. So that's probably if you have any questions directly about that, that's something that we definitely would be interested in having that conversation on.
Yeah, you can
So
always put your questions in the feed, and then we'll have it to look at, and then we can answer you next time,
yeah.
or
Yay.
maybe even answer it. Whatever. It's easier for me to answer while I'm talking than it is to go back and try to type stuff in.
Typing is harder. It's like, how much information can I get out of this one thing? It's so interesting. I'm sorry, you just set me on a tangent because the voice transmits way more than words transmit. And I don't mean that as a slight to people who appreciate words, but what I mean is that in the same in the same amount of time it takes to read the words, we can say something and more information gets transmitted because you're not just getting the words, you're getting
A
what the voice
vibration.
sounds like, the
Yeah.
vibration.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's vibrations in words too, but it's still more mental, because it's going
Yeah.
through your own filters, and then your mind is trying to, attach the other things that
Organize
it
it
has
into
with
its own
that.
perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sylvie Perez is asking a question real quick. Do you know what time that was in the Washington Post? My daughter-in-law does human design.
No, it's I was in one of the Facebook groups that I'm in, one of the human design Facebook groups, and I'm in a whole big bunch of them, so I have no idea which one it was in, but somebody posted it, okay, and then I went to
Oh, okay.
go read the article, and actually I had a bunch of those like ad pop-up things and stuff like that blocked me from actually reading the article itself, but it was the top of the part of the article that told the different top trending things. It was there. I think it was last week that I saw it. So that's where I saw that it was posted in one of the human design groups that I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else fails, like Google
Washington Post
top
top trendings.
10,
Yeah.
top trending, whatever. What was the name of it? Top trending something.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
like
Top
So I think
trends in
that's
Washington
because it does
Post. Yeah.
show that there, there's been prophecy that, of those types of things, and then that we're going to be seeking more, because we're not going to be controlled by the talking heads. We didn't come
Well,
here.
and
We're
that's the thing.
come here
It's
to,
like,
yeah,
to me, that's another element that I haven't really heard anybody talk about, but I feel like it's definitely showing up in that Saturn Pisces, which is that we are going to be taking the spiritual more seriously.
yeah,
It's going to be more of a real thing. So
right,
it's going to be things that we're using to apply structure, you know? And so human design is definitely that. That's how it's set
yeah.
up for most people and the way they work
And
with
don't get
it.
lost in the dogma of it either, because
Yeah.
people do. And it's like,
Yeah.
take the information just like I do with astrology, any of it. You take it and then run it through your own filters, and don't get lost in the head game because it's humans that do that with anything that they're following. It's like
Yeah, well, it's the same, trap, not to be funny,
Mhm.
but like that Christianity, churches,
Right.
religion, like you can run into that same ego-based spirituality
You can.
problem with
Right.
this stuff as well.
With
So
all of the
just
past that way, the same thing can happen because
hold
people
hold
want to
it loosely.
they want to know what they're doing is the way. And so
Yeah.
then,
And
and then
then,
it's when you take it and beat other people up with it, and it's like, no, that's not
yeah,
what we're here for. So if it
yeah,
resonates with you, whichever one, because I love all of it. See, for me,
yeah, me too.
mine's not about the path. Mine is about how all the paths go to the same place. So, because I
That
have the
part,
visionary and the big picture, and I
yeah.
know they all bundle into, it's that. It's like, how do they work together? It's like that's
That's
the part.
my
It's like,
fascination. That's why I get into so many
yeah,
different astrologies, is
like the
because I'm so
kaleidoscope.
interested in how they are speaking to each other,
Mhm.
and how it's all coming to that same endpoint, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
love
it's
it.
look, I just want to keep turning the kaleidoscope and watch the next pretty color and the next creation that happens, and then be wowed by it all. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Yay.
it's all inside of you somewhere. Like all the astrology, all of the stuff, somewhere it's accumulated knowledge, and somewhere we all have this information. We
Yeah.
just, it may not be our path this time to explore it, but somewhere we have the hologram of all of it. Because humanity dreamed it in. So it's somewhere you can tap into the
Well,
information.
we are the universe, you know? It's
Yeah.
within us.
We're the creators of all of the dream.
We forget sometimes, but it's true. It is true. And these are just our reminders, these little pieces of heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Same batty time. It's like same channel, same time.
We'll see you next Monday and take care of yourselves to then. If anybody else is getting like the extreme, lots of energy downloads, baths are miracles.
And breath.
And breathing and voice work. I've been doing a
Right. You
lot of
carry
all
your
of
voice
it.
and your breath with you everywhere you go. So use it.
Yes, use it. So
Yeah.
beautiful.
Those two
Yeah.
will clear you faster than anything.
So beautifully, Manny dreamed it in, and that was the purpose of the original Unity Church, appreciating all the paths that lead to God. Yeah, the Unity Church. I do appreciate that they honor all the paths. Yeah. Yeah.
Until it's one that ruffles their feathers. So it's like it depends on the congregations of that too. But
Well,
it's
it's how people come together, you know.
like
We're good. Humans are good. We can bastardize anything.
we
can make
We're so
anything
clever at that. We're so clever at
turn
being able to do
into
that.
what our version of what we want reality to be.
Yep.
And it can look ugly sometimes. That's the truth.
It's the light, the dark, there is no difference. Really, it's like the shadow it's the part that what wants to be illuminated. And when you can look at somebody and go, whoa, there is a bunch of energy there to be illuminated. That's when we
Yes.
step aside and go, whoa, there's so much potential there. There's a lot of potential.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Press is saying that they sing and have choirs. I agree. I feel like that's the one thing that we will never be able to replace, right? And churches is the sense of communion and voice. And that's like the point of a congregation. It's just the point of like those things. But I believe that we are also, again, we're humans. We'll figure out a way to bring these things with less, again, of the echoic structure into it. We just have to stop taking things so damn seriously.
Right. And we've got,
We
we
really
can talk about
do.
that transit next time, but we've got the Pluto is getting ready to go into Aquarius for a visit. It's only going to be there, like 3 months. He's going to step back out and then go back into Aquarius for 20 years. So
Wow,
that energy is coming up too. So we've got all of that, of the transformation in the energy and where we're moving with all that. So March is a big month. It's a big month.
March is
transformation.
huge. You thought, this year started out fast. Like March is huge. It's huge. And I, again, my lessons that have been coming through already is just let go. Like stop expecting to know everything.
Right.
Like allow things to be what they are without assigning meaning to them. And let the change happen and go, because it's going to shift you to the transformation that's for you. It will. You got to trust that it will, so it's good. Her V Perez's birthday's on March 20th. Wow.
Big month for you. Your solar return in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Daryl's is on the 10th. We've got so much going on. But it is that. Yeah, I just got to be like, oh, I guess that's not a thing anymore. We're just going to go on to this next thing. Yeah. All right,
Okay.
loves.
Thank you all. Thank you
See
for being here
next
and bringing your
time.
light to this planet. Bringing your
Yeah.
light to humanity. The planet already has light. It's
Yeah.
not her. It's that we're bringing the light to humanity, that we said we'd be here and do this. So thank you for
Yeah.
doing what you do
Yes.
and embodying your DNA skin suit.
We
Okay.
appreciate it.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.